Welcome to the Ben Community Podcast, where we empower small and medium sized enterprises and professionals with future ready skills. Through tailored workshops, expert consulting, and a vibrant community, we focus on leadership, development, intercultural competency, and future literacy. I'm your host, Ben, and today we have a special guest, Jaël Oterdoom, Head of People and Operations at Clipa. Founded in 2015, Kilipa is a Dutch company that creates AI-powered cloud-based software to digitize and automate administrative tasks. They serve over 1,000 clients in more than 30 countries with a team of more than 50 professionals who speak multiple languages, including English, German, French, Dutch, and Spanish. Based in Groningen, of course, with offices in Amsterdam and Brussels, I think Romania. Am I right?
Correct, you are correct.
Yeah. And Drupal helps businesses work more efficiently by reducing manual tasks, enabling them to focus on more important activities, which means they can help them to save time and reducing the cost. In this episode, we will explore Yo's professional journey, her approach to managing people and operations in a tech environment, of course, and her insights on building cross functional team mentorship and the future of work. Whether you're an aspiring leader or a seasoned professional, this conversation, I believe, offers valuable perspectives and navigating the evolving business landscape. Hello, y'all.
Hello.
I'm really happy to have you in this episode, and I appreciate your time because I know you are so busy. I'm really happy to hear more about your experience and insights. To start, I want to ask you to tell a little bit about yourself and your professional journey so far.
Sure. So my name is Jaël Oterdoom. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm Dutch. And I believe I had a not so traditional professional journey. After high school, I went to something called University College Utrecht, which is a very American model where you can kind of fruit pick your classes and you do a major and a minor. And I really liked social sciences. So I did anthropology, sociology, psychology, all the kind of people interested courses. Graduated as in psychology and then did a master's in clinical neuropsychology from NYU. And then I moved back to the Netherlands, to Groningen, and I realized I don't want to do a PhD in neuropsychology. I don't want to be a clinical psychologist. And I had a really rough time trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And because I felt like I have to do something, I started working as a customer service agent for a software company. And from there, I worked my way up to a coordinator, to a manager. Then I became a product manager. So then I really went into software and I loved it. Did product management with a lot of excitement for many years and then wanted to learn more of the business side. But I like being what we call a spider in the web. So I like to be involved with all the departments of a company. So at Clippa here, we created the position of head of operations for me as we were growing, kind of almost doubling our company in size. We needed to maintain the right processes, needed to make sure that strategy was executed properly, that the vision from the board we could maintain practically. And I picked up HR after that. So that's kind of how I got where I got.
Fabulous. And it's a good idea if you are thinking about what are the key principles do you follow to manage people and operations based on your journey so far in a fast moving tech environment like Kalipa? Because Kalipa is one of the main players in that sector. You are providing your services, and it seems you are struggling with many issues or problems or even challenges. How do you manage the people and operations at the same time in these environments?
I think it can be difficult. My most important take home that I always use and find very valuable is retaining respect for the individual. Everybody's different. And everybody likes to be motivated or provided feedback in a different way. On top of that, I don't believe in the separation of personal life and work life. You're at your work very long. It is completely impossible to not let your work be affected by something that happens in your personal life. And so recognizing that and treating everybody as an individual with a rich personal life, you can keep them motivated. You can have them feel understood and heard, and that really helps to create a safe space where everybody can be their best and do their best.
May I ask you to share an example?
Um, for instance, I just had one of my old office manager is joining the police force, and I knew exactly how to interact with her. I was her team lead. She's very Dutch, straight, direct feedback. And now I have a new office manager who is British. And, with her, I have to be a lot more careful because I can be quite direct and crude and don't notice how that comes across. And so with her, it's better to do like, hey, how are you? And, I was thinking I wanted to talk to you about something. So to her, that's what being polite is. So that is like an immediate example that I can think of.
Yeah, and it could be important in Kalipa because, as I mentioned already, different people from different background and cultures and countries are working, and also you have another office in another country, as well as lots of clients in different countries, which means those kind of stuff related to intercultural competency and how to cope with people from different cultures and in countries are really important. Exactly what do you do for empowering your teammates, your people at Klipa to learn more about these kind of stuff, intercultural communication skills, and learning how to go? Because you exactly mentioned, as a Dutch person, maybe it's totally different to cope with the people when people are coming from another country or another culture.
Yeah. One thing that I do and that I do on a team basis is something that we call a values training. So in this training, I introduce exactly this concept that you say that our brains filter incoming information, the language that we use, the culture that we are from, the experiences that we've had, the characteristics that we have. And to be able to work together, you need to, for one, understand for yourself what are your values and what are your filters and what's important to you and what do you really dislike. And then everybody presents each other's values to me. And then we talk about it and see what it means. And it allows people to understand the differences between one another and also the likenesses between one another. And it provides a really cool platform to talk about how people want to be treated and what's important to you.
Which means also you already incorporated these kind of stuff, for example, in onboarding plan or programs when new people are joining your company. Am I right?
It's a yeah, so we're not going as fast with people now anymore because now we have good people and we wanna make sure they get the right training and they get the amount of attention that they require to be successful here at Clipa. But we do have something during onboarding called new employee presentations. So everybody who is onboarded gets 6 different presentations as an introduction to Clipa, and the one that I provide is about people and culture at Clipa, where we introduce these themes as well. Yeah,
Speaking of building teams and encouraging collaboration,
Mm.
um, trust is really important.
Absolutely.
And my question is, how do you build and sustain trust in cross-functional and multicultural teams? Just you are trying to make it by itself, or do you have any plans for improving the trust? Because based on trust, then people can collaborate with each other more easily.
I think what how or at least how we try to build it and facilitate is kind of two of our core values as a company, as Clipa. One is transparency. So we always try to be, and that's also about how are we doing financially, what are our plans, who's leaving, who's arriving, who's coming. We try to be transparent. And that means that shows a respect to each of our coworkers that you're important and we want to inform you. And the other one is something called feedback always. Yeah, so that means, whenever you see something, it doesn't matter. We're a very flat hierarchy. You just tell people there's an improvement or what could be better or what was amazing. We try to celebrate the things that went well as well. So those are two important things in which we facilitate trust.
So, which means also empathy could be really important.
Empathy.
Where you are talking about transparency and feedback, am I right? So, how does empathy shape your? I mean, I just want to now ask something specifically about your experience. How does this kind of stuff, transparency, giving feedbacks directly, and also empathy, shape your leadership style, and how has it contributed to your team success?
I think something that is often overlooked when we look at coaching or training of new people, we as leaders have a tendency to forget some phases between somebody's new and you tell them explicitly what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and delegating,
Hmm.
which is I trust you now, you can do it, let me know when it's done. But in the middle, there's a lot of coaching, which is also, for instance, coaching and complimenting a lot. And I think that is something that we can forget or even checking in. What do you need? In this task, we can already delegate something. In a different task, I might still be in the basis of the basis. On a third task, I could just tell you, let me know if you have a question. It should be done on December 31st, for instance. And so I think just asking your team member what they require of you, that's something that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't mean you're micromanaging them, right?
I don't believe that that's what micromanaging is. I think you show people respect by asking them how they like to be coached and what their needs are, rather than having a one size fits all. I think this is what you need to excel at this company.
So, which means in your company also you're trying to follow kind of mentoring or coaching approach, right? To help people to empower.
Absolutely. We really want our coworkers to succeed. So we start after onboarding with something we call a road to success, in which we write down what can you read, what can you do, who can you have meetings with, what do we expect from you in the first 3 months of you working here to be successful here at ClipApp.
I'm thinking about the essential skills people need to work in professional setting,
Hmm.
which means it's not just about hard skills. It's more about also how we can collaborate with others based on soft skills or transferable skills. My question is, what skills should individuals focus on to develop themselves as a leader or, I don't know, as a valuable employee for the companies to provide more values on the table?
I think something like curiosity is incredibly important. Stay curious about what you do as work, but also about each other. Because when you remain curious about something, that means you're not filling anything in, and you're listening. And listening is the second really important one. Something that could be really important here at Clippa are things like guts and ownership. Really own what you can do, and if you have an improvement, suggest that and make sure that you're responsible for what you're doing.
If you want to give any piece of advice to learn or practice or learning by doing this kind of stuff,
Mhm.
what do you advise?
I think a really easy thing to start, which is very difficult for people, is when you ask somebody a question, try and be quiet for as long as you can. Sit with that. And what often happens when you shut your mouth, other people suddenly say a lot more things. And that is a beautiful thing that happens. And based on that, ask questions and ask open questions. And I think when you start listening and asking open questions and try to make that a practice, you'll learn so many cool new things. And if you do that at work as well, I think you'll always get to the point of of importance.
Let's talk about students because I saw recently some students visited your company, specifically for students or fresh graduates. If they want, because still they are, they are trying to navigate their career path. If
Yeah.
they want to do something, but still they have no idea, what do they can in terms of learning this kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's very difficult because I was there. I had no idea what I wanted to do or how to get anywhere. And what really helped me is I don't believe in this notion that we have now that you have to have one passion, that your entire life needs to be driven towards this one goal, or you will only be happy and satisfied if you love, 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 love what you do. that really restricts us and that puts a lot of pressure on us. So my advice would be just try something. If it's not to your liking, you can stop doing it. Just start somewhere. You have your entire life ahead of you to figure out what you want to do. Look at me. I studied psychology and now I'm a head of people in operations. Yeah, I did not see that coming either.
Yeah, makes sense because also I studied philosophy and now I'm here due to the international communication, busy with some other stuff that I've never even thought at that time. Yeah,
Yeah.
surprising me. Life is not linear, even.
Exactly true. Exactly true. And it took me a long time to find out?
So let's talk a little bit more about the future because this is one of the main topic I'm really interested in, and I think we have no idea what future holds for us. Specifically, you are working in a company focusing on AI solutions, other things like that. And these days, AI is everywhere. Everyone, everywhere talking about AI. It seems lots of things will be changed in the future. What do you think about the future? The future of workplace, the future of work, job, and what skills we need to learn to cope with that challenges in the future.
That's an interesting question indeed, because working at a software company, 50% of our employees are writing software, something that ChatGPT can do already, and that will only get better. So, what's the job security for an engineer? Or should you be an AI engineer? Because that's what we start needing, right? So, we've already seen over the past years that the more and more university and HBO level studies come up for AI engineering. And I also think that there's a tendency to have a fear of the unknown. Something like AI, it scares people, right? But the same happened with the steam engine, and the same happened with phones, and the same happened with email or radio. People got very scared that jobs would get lost, and jobs did get lost, but they almost always get replaced by different jobs.
At the same time, it has lots of challenges and opportunities, which means we need to consider both of them, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
You already mentioned about the individuals, but at the same time, most of the companies are struggling because, for example, you are hiring some, I don't know, developers. And then after a while, you can reduce your cost by using some AI tool. In terms of the companies, how they can cope or, I don't know, predict, maybe, I don't know if it's possible,
Right.
the challenges in the future and prepare themselves for coping with those kind of challenges.
Well, I think you can already now figure out what kind of jobs might be in danger, right? So think about anything that's a person behind a customer service. A lot of it is bots now, and a lot of it can be answered by bots. Anything that requires a lot of counting or repetitive behavior will be able to be taken up by bots. For us in our company, I'm also seeing maybe recruitment could be done by an AI and might even be less biased if done by an AI, to be honest. It's difficult for me to kind of think about because I'm obviously in a company, I see where it's going. So I position myself to be in a company in a role where I work with AI and I'm going with the flow rather than being fearful of it and going against the flow.
Which means you are trying to embrace the challenges instead of just not considering them in your daily life, which means you already started to use AI driven solutions in your daily activities. Am I right?
Correct. That is correct. Yeah.
So, how do you use AI driven solutions for example, recruitment?
So something that for recruitment that you could do, for instance, is writing a specific text. It's as easy as that, right? You want to figure out like, okay, how do I, based on the German market, for instance, I'm recruiting for Germans now, based on the numbers that you can find in the German market, how many people do I need to reach out to in order to get a conversation with 10, for instance? What websites should I be looking for? So it's like a helpful tool of what used to be something somebody with 20 years of experience would have gathered this information. We have that information accessible at the type of a finger. So that's how I use it specifically.
So it seems you are really busy because at the same time you are busy at Clip also you are doing something else as I know in another entity besides that. Because previous time I visited your office and you mentioned, okay, we also do something related to kind of AI driven initiative. And you did that as well.
Your sister company called Data North
Yeah, data north.
does AI consulting and they do custom projects. So they would go over to a company, say, "You're not using AI now. Let us show you how to start using it in various ways."
And the main mission there is educating the market how to use AI in their execution and implement AI.
Exactly.
So, which means at the same time you are at least busy with two different roles in two different
Like
companies.
5. So I'm the head of people, I'm the head of operations, I'm the data protection officer, the data annotation team lead. So
That's
yeah.
yeah. I mentioned this because I wanted to ask you, how do you make time for personal growth at the same time with this busy schedule?
So there's no real personal goal. Well, so we do a lot with goal setting at work already. That could be things like, for instance, I should be more detail oriented. So that's a personal goal of mine that I work on at work. Um, and then outside of that, for me, it's very important that when work is done, work is done. So I can be available if you need me to be, but I won't be the person that is like constantly has their phone on, constantly has the just checking their email and Slack when I'm outside of working hours. I really need to have that time because otherwise I'm only thinking about work. And HR is a difficult role, you know, and I'm very empathic. So, people will come to you because there's something sad happened or they're not well. And initially I took that home a lot and that was not good, that was not helpful, and so I really had to actively separate, those things from each other, and that has helped me a lot.
But still, it seems you are busy with lots of things, which means sometimes this kind of uh, busy lifestyle could be resulted in kind of burnouts. Have you ever experienced any kind of burnouts during your professional life?
I have.
So how did you cope with that?
Not so good. Um, Not so good. I had to stop working for 2 months, I think. I had a lot of anxiety. I really had to push myself too hard, so I had to just lie in bed and there was hardly anything I could do. So I went into therapy. I started taking medication for it. I was yeah, it took a long time to to get back from that. And I think I have learned because now when I'm feeling overwhelmed, rather than continue to push myself and think you're not good enough, you should be able to do more and more and more and more. I think, okay, I'm feeling stressed out. Let me reach out for help. Like I'm doing too many things. I need to talk to my supervisor.
Great, exactly. Because after that, I wanted to ask what strategies help you prevent burnout in high pressure roles, and what do you do to help others because of your role now at Klipa to help people to prevent those kind of experience.
Yeah, I'm noticing most people that go and I'm the same, people that experience things like burnout often are the perfectionists. So the pressure comes from internally and they're never good enough. And so what I try to do when I see it happening, I try to talk to them already and say like, "Hey, what's going on? Maybe it's a good idea to take a break. Should we talk to your team lead and see can we prioritize some tasks? Can we take some stuff away from you? Should we take away some responsibility? Maybe if productivity always goes down because there's so much stress that you can't function anymore. So if I see that, I will proactively say maybe instead of doing 8 hours a day and you sitting here for 2 hours doing nothing but stressing out, maybe we can start going to 6 hours a day. So I try to be there before it gets too far and people actually are burnt out to the point that they can't come back to work. And then it takes a very, very long time.
I want to ask you, because almost you're done, I have one, two, three more questions. Yeah, I want to ask. First of all, I want to ask you on some specific advice you would like to share with professionals, I mean, young professionals, how to navigate the challenges in a rapidly changing world? Because we are living in kind of VUCA world, a volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and also ambiguity world. And sometimes even we have no idea what will be happened in 6 months, let alone in 5 years. And it's really tough, specifically for people who are in the beginning of their career path and
Mhm.
they have no idea how they can navigate this way. And sometimes even they have no idea the things you already mentioned, which means life is not linear. Sometimes it surprises you and the things like that. If you want to share any kind of advice, what would you like to share?
Yeah. Let me think. One thing I would love for people to stop doing is caring about what other people think of them. And that makes people lame with anxiety, and I get a lot of people applying for jobs who are so nervous about one word in their resume or what, or there's so many more bigger things to worry about. And that's such an easy thing to say because I stress out about the little things. I constantly have to put myself back, but other people around the world that don't know you, they don't care. Do whatever you like. And if there's no one passion thing, that is also completely okay. Figure things out, be yourself, be weird, do things in a way that other people don't do. That's what I think is important. And will that help with the ever-changing world? I don't know, it helped me.
Good. Maybe to wrap up, it's a good idea to ask another question related to that one. If you could share one piece of advice with your younger self, specifically after this journey you've had, what would it be?
Um, you are good enough, and keep that in mind. You don't need the approval of others to be worth anything. Existing inherently makes everybody worthwhile.
And anything else you want to mention, maybe during a conversation I missed to ask, or you think it's good to emphasize or stress on it?
Um, not that I can think of. Not that I can think of. I wish everybody who's listening to feel less fear and just try something. Just try it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult at the same time, it's worthy.
Super difficult. It's horrible. It's so scary, but yeah, if you don't, it gets really boring and you can get real nappy.
Yeah, life is too short not to focus something salty. Great. So, thank you so much, y'all.
And thank you.
I enjoyed, and that was one of the nice experience of recording my podcast because as straightforward. You mentioned the main points. I mean, Dutch approach. I like it. Thank you for joining me on this insightful episode of the Better Community Podcast. I hope our discussion has provided our audience with practical advice, some triggers to think in a different way, and maybe try to do something, as you mentioned, in a different way, embracing the change, embracing the fears, even to try something more.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything else to share, I just can wrap up and share some extra info and then done.
Yes. No, I have nothing more to share. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you a lot. To stay connected with the Penu Community podcast and access more resources, of course, our audience can search us simple and easy on Google because definitely they will find us. Also, we will share the link. If it's fine for you, also your LinkedIn profile link there. Then even if people wants to approach you or connect with you on LinkedIn, it's possible. And also we recently launched the new club, a network of professionals dedicated on continuous learning and growth, and member can access to exclusive events and the things like that, connecting to each other, sharing knowledge, experience. If anyone wants to join that community as well, they can find the link in the description of this episode. And of course, we are active on social media. We will publish this episode very soon. I don't know when, but very soon. Thank you again. I enjoyed a lot and hope to see you soon.
Same. Have a nice day.